We'll be following Willie more and more. Back in the NRL is Willie Iain.
That's forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie had the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Plus. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
Welcome to episode number 4 billion of the Take with Willie and Iain. William, how are you?
Oh, yeah, not too bad, actually. Not too bad.
We're brought to you by bettingsite.com.au. Let me tell you, I have been giving that an absolute hammering over the last little while. And I'm going to get this out of the way early. Mate, your bet got up. Well done.
Yes, I know. I can see how people can get addicted to this. I'm not going to, but it's quite exciting when you win.
Can I bring up? Yeah, well, I'll tell you what's exciting. I'll tell you what's exciting for everyone else is the early crow. So we're sitting there and Manly are up by 1-12, and then there's 0.1 of a second to go, and Jason Saab, the giraffe, scores a length of the field try. You've already sent the tweet saying,
because I was working with a guy that day. He's a big punter, and he goes, "What do you think?" He was going to back Manly 30 plus. I said, "Hey, just pump your brakes a bit." I said, "Understand, like a lot of players are leaving that club. There's about 10 or 12 off contract, fighting for their careers. They'll put up a fight. They'll get beat, but they'll put up a fight." 1-12 was paying I think maybe $8. I'm not sure.
It was a lot. Yeah.
So I said, load up on it. I reckon it'll be close. And then they scored. And they were what up 18, and then they scored off the kick. And then I couldn't help myself. I was like, yes. Minute to go. 40 seconds ago. Last set. Flanagan intercept to Cherry Evans. I've already tweeted. Do you know anyone who put but Manly 1-12? Everyone thought obviously it was me, but it wasn't. So shut up.
In betting circles,
but a mate lost a hell of a lot of money, and he would have won so much, and I would look like a genius. In
betting circles, it's known as the early crow, Will, and you have just.
I got hammered. I didn't really know. I was just like, because everyone, I was like, what's the big deal? Well, it wasn't me. So anyway, it was exciting, but it was exciting for me because I thought he got up. I was like, yes. And I was like, oh, Flanagan. And not for one moment, I thought that I would absolutely hammer Flanagan personally and just ring him up and just say, you ruined my multi.
Wasn't your multi?
Cross my mind.
Yeah, you didn't have any skin in the game. That's just a good reminder to everyone to gamble responsibly, actually. And also, if you're gambling responsibly, it was. Well, it was.
Mate,
and then
if you had money on that, would you, it was 40 seconds ago, attacking the line?
I wouldn't early crow.
Set game over. You wouldn't know.
I've made that mistake too many times.
And I had the tweet like that. Should I send it? Yep, go. All right.
You've just cruelled everyone. All right. Well, there's a lot to talk about this week, actually. I think there's been a number of big issues that have come out of not just last weekend, but obviously we're coming into finals time. And I think the thing that has probably dominated the press over the last little while is obviously the Roosters and the Rabbitohs played on Friday night. Latrell Mitchell came out and look, he's fractured Joseph Manu's cheekbone, and it looked awful on television and that sort of thing. First and foremost, Will, a question I'll ask you, this is what people don't think about. Those two blokes are good mates. This is a game. What sort of pressure does that sort of thing put on an actual friendship? Is it just what happens on the field stays on the field, or is there going to be any lingering resentment?
I think there's going to be. Otherwise, Joey wouldn't have reacted like that, because I don't know Joey that well, but I've met him a couple of times. He's probably one of the nicest kids I've met. He is. You can't fault him. Very humble, goes about his business. He's, quietly one of the best centers in the game. He's not loud. He's not brash. He's just very humble. And to see him react like that, he was more upset at the fact that, he probably knew that his head was busted. And it was from one of his mates. If that happened to me, I'd be quite angry. I'm not sure if you could, I would reconcile after. I just think I'm not that sort of guy. I am that sort of guy. And I know in Latrell's heart of hearts, he didn't want to break his face. He probably wanted to crack it. He wanted to put a hit on him, and it just went all wrong. It went all wrong. People have got to understand Latrell's very chesty. When he hits, he's like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a low tackler. He'll hit you high. And he didn't even lower his body. He just thought he was going to hit him shoulder to shoulder. But Manu twisted his body, and he fell from being normal height to about that far down. And that's shoulder to the head. It happened like that. It happens quick. The intent, when you slow it down 1,000 times, of course it looks intentional. It's replayed all weekend. It was terrible scenes for the game. It was terrible. I didn't like seeing it because Joey's such a good dude. Latrell's such a good guy. Well, I want those guys playing in the semi-finals. And I know there's a friendship there, and then, after the game, the Roosters players really, didn't want him in the sheds. Hargraves and a few boys, tying the piss off. And, that sucked as well. So there's a few things there, in the heat of the moment there, like Latrell probably thought he honestly didn't do anything wrong. He was coming in and it was an accident. In his head, it's an accident. And he just needs to slow down. Latrell just needs to slow down. He's very aggressive on the field. And I don't want him to, cop, I reckon the reason why obviously he took the early plea, because I don't think he would have got off because of his loading, his record. Because you have a look at Haiwira Nara, how that tackle on Jerome Hughes a couple of weeks ago, he got 3 weeks. Because I thought he would have fought it. But then obviously because of the loading and his track record wasn't that good, he's looking at 9 weeks.
And he would have got 9. He would have
got 9. They just would have thrown it at him. But I thought, it was terrible. It was terrible to see because, I know the way Latrell plays. He's aggressive, but the game is aggressive, but it's got to be legal. You know what I mean? And things like that, this game happens so quick. Latrell was moving so fast. He didn't expect Joey to throw that ball or twist his body like that. He was probably going to put him on the deck anyway, but it was never going in his head. It was never going to be like that. So
when you slow it down, you can actually see when you slow it down, you can actually see Mitchell turns his head away from the point of contact. So he didn't know. But one thing that I think it's happened over the last little while, and there's talk that it's the Book of Feuds. I mean, the Book of Feuds is just a thing that's been made up. It's not. There's always been feeling between the Roosters and the Rabbitohs. That's something you've played in those games. There's always that rivalry. But I think with the Jai Arrow in Origin with Tedesco and there's just the last couple of games, it's gone from friendly rivalry into this big sort of thing. I think they just need to cool it and just play footy.
The players don't care. It's a media build-up. They can talk as much shit as they want. The players don't hate each other. They don't hate Latrell. They don't really hate Jai Arrow. New South Wales hates Jai Arrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they took it personal, a couple of guys like Hargraves and that. And so your big boys should always stand up for Teddy and your captain. And he's your fearsome leader. And he's one of the best blokes, and they didn't stand for that. I expect that from your big boys. So, it's all part of the theatre, isn't it? The rivalry 1908, it's the original rivalry game. And, you got to build it up as much as you can. And at the moment now, both these teams are top 4 teams. So it's all about ratings and views and all that kind of stuff. So it deserves the limelight it gets because it's such a great game. It was pretty poor on the weekend. I turned it off after 30 minutes because South was just like playing a bunch of kids. I felt so sorry for the Roosters. They just got absolutely bashed. They had some senior players out. They just had injuries everywhere. They had about 12 starters out. What are you supposed to do against a red hot South Sydney side? Veterans everywhere. They put a clinic on. I felt sorry for those lads.
I think that if you look at the way the Roosters have gone this year and you look at the way the Souths have gone, Souths have obviously they've come good at the right end of the season, but I just think the Roosters they've full credit to them because, as you say, they've got so many players out, and that game, it was a really sad result for the Roosters, I think. But it is what it is.
It's just one of their. Well, it was better than last year. Was it 60-0?
60-8.
60-8, something like that. And they haven't had much luck with the injuries in the last couple of years. But South, they were good. But losing Latrell, they can't win now.
No, they're gone. They're gone. Which, it's a shame for the game.
That's what
for anyone who has decided, and that's the thing with Latrell Mitchell. He is that bloke that when he was playing Origin, everyone loved him. He's Latrell, but he does one thing, and all of a sudden the trolls start. He's getting hammered. Everyone just needs to understand this is a game. This is a game of football, and these blokes are human. And there is absolutely no need for people to be going out and hammering Latrell Mitchell as if he's just.
Look, I get it from people who don't understand the game, the punters. They don't really understand how quick the game is, how aggressive Latrell is, all these little nuances of the game and variables for something like this to happen. But when you hear journalists and actual ex-players and all that sort of shit start bagging him, like, shut the fuck up. You've played the game before. Shit happens like that. Split second, things go wrong. Latrell plays the game aggressive. He's paying for it. He's got 6 weeks. So lay off it.
A long time.
It's over.
Yeah, it's a long time. All right. So other than Latrell Mitchell being suspended, South have put out, they've rested Cody Walker, they've rested Cameron Murray, there's a heap of blokes that they've sat down. The Parramatta
Murray
side
deserves a rest. Whoa, he's an animal. I love him.
Yeah, I don't know, Will. I look at this and the Storm have rested a few, but not a lot.
They got a lot coming back, but big Nas, nasty Nas, Finucane, all those lads. So the timing's been great for Melbourne because those guys have had a bit of a rest and these young kids have had a bit of experience. Now they're out. Now these guys are back in. So they're in a luxury place where they can rest players.
But aside like Parramatta, who their form's been pretty indifferent leaving in, and all of a sudden they've won one game and they're resting all these players. I don't know, Will. I honestly look at that and I think if I was playing, I don't want a week off. I want to play with my team and I want to get some cohesion and I want to, like, off the back of that Melbourne win as well, those blokes now they go and sit down for a week. I just think this resting, I don't like it.
So Mitchell Moses, Wanga Blake, Nick Cora, Junior Paulo, and I think Gutho's injured. And I think Junior Paulo's a bit busted, but I don't think people understand. You have a look at these guys, man. Every single team, nobody is 100% right now. No player, nothing. It's a marathon, not a sprint. These guys are nearly limping over the line. Some of these teams. Parramatta hit some good form last week. I understand totally about trying to keep that bit of fire going from last week, but Gutherson's a big part of that. Junior Paulo's a big part of that. Mitchell Moses is. These guys have probably been carrying injuries the whole year. So if you can rest, if you're in opportunity to rest it now. I think what they wanted to do was just catch a little bit of form before the finals. And then, like Parramatta, what we're talking about, Parramatta especially, and then you can afford to rest because they're already embedded in the top 8. Melbourne as well, they can afford to do that. Penrith can, but look at their side. Stacked. Because it's a different mentality of a team and obviously a coach. But this is their second good year, in a row, the same players. They're still young. They're still fresh. You look at Melbourne, a lot of vets, not many young faces in that team anymore. They're all played over 100 games in origins and tests and everything like that, and deep runs into the playoffs for the last 5 years. Understand that. These players need a rest. When you can rest them and it doesn't mean anything, like right now, what's the if they lose, Penrith win, it doesn't matter as long as they don't. It's all that is money to the club for the minor premiership and bragging rights. No one gives a shit. If you're 1 or 2, you don't play each other. They don't want to play each other in the first round. Who cares?
Here's a question for you, Will. It's 2004. You come into the semi-finals, right? It's no different. You're all busted. You've been playing all year. You've had 26 hard rounds. You get to the last round and Ren or Mark O'Mealy or Sonny Bill goes, wouldn't mind a rest. What is 2004 Willie Mason saying then? You're saying, shut your mouth. You've got 3 more games.
Yeah.
Let's rip into this. There's only a little bit to go.
And in saying that, I understand like our mentality back then compared to now, I'm not saying the game is more ferocious on the field, but like off the field, like mentally draining. The situations that we're living in now with these guys with COVID, like living out of their own homes and just hanging out with each other. Like it's very draining. Just the off-field demand is a lot higher than what it was in the 2000s. Regardless of COVID, the things that, the stress that they have with social media and everything like that, all combined, I think it's a mental rest more than anything at the moment. It's not a physical thing. Maybe sometimes it's physical, but sometimes if you can give it a rest, guys like Bellamy are smart, man. Cleary's smart. Like all these head coaches, Trent Robinson, all these Wayne Bennett's, they're very smart players and they know their players and they know when they need a rest mentally or physically. So it's a different sort of game. It's quicker. These players are non-stop. It's pretty relentless, the game right now, compared to what it was in the 2000s. You know, regardless of a shoulder charge and fighting, that's all the difference is. These guys are all gun defenders. They run hard. They do everything. It's physical. The wrestling, you know, everything like that has just gone up and up and up and up. So the guys deserve a rest.
You talk about Trent Robinson being a great coach. If he tried to rest players, he'd end up with the bloke in the chook suit and the bloke with the giggity sign. He'd be running on. They've got no players left. No resting in the Roosters.
Oh, God.
Congratulations, actually, to Josh Morris. Yeah, well, they've got literally no players left. Congratulations to Josh Morris playing his last game. Oh, no, his second last game. All right, you can maybe shine some light on this. There's been some weird things happen this year. I mean, it has been a very, very strange year. Canterbury halfback and judo specialist Lachlan Lewis, mate, he's stolen a speaker and he's tried to sell it. Is this fair income? Is this an actual thing that has happened? I mean, I don't believe what I read in the papers, but is this fair income? Is it a Gia?
No, it's not.
It's fair income.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. I mean, I'm just going to say allegedly because I don't know 100%, but like 90%, yeah. Something like that has gone down. It's unbelievable.
I don't get what is going on at Canterbury.
He must be a mad klepto.
Just allegedly. He must have been trying to pull a prank because a bloke who's earning $400,000 a year or whatever, he's not selling he's not stealing a Sonos and putting on eBay for $30, surely.
Like, I'm not condoning stealing, but just say if he did do that, like, why would you want to sell it?
And
give it away. You're short of cash or something.
And in the old days, you know, like you'd put something on eBay and put one of your mates, like some ridiculous deal, like a Porsche going for $50, and you put your mate's phone number on there, and they get peppered. But he's genuinely tried to sell it.
I hope it's something like that. It just hasn't come out. It's bizarre, isn't it? It's very bizarre. I'm not 100% believing it until he comes out and makes a press conference.
Do you reckon Trent Barrett's going? This was a great career decision. This.
Oh,
I'm going well. I got Adam Elliott in the shitter. I got Lachlan Lewis stealing speakers, and we're coming last. This is good. You go back to Manly with the no chairs.
I think the record was 5. They've won 5 games out of 45 games or something like that. Gus was saying.
In the last
2 years.
They should bring back a barnstorming front come back rower mentor. No.
We'll see what happens. You know,
we'll see what happens.
Something with the club. You know, but you know they're going to have they'll have a different roster next year. You know, Gus is a genius. He's a great architect of. You know, he pretty much put Penrith together about 5 years ago. So he'll be doing some good things next year.
Watch your space. Watch your space. Speaking of Adam Elliott and the Bulldogs, the NRL has come out and decided that there will be no Mad Monday. This is going to go well. Will, this is going to go. So there'll be no Mad Monday. They should all go out with their families and have a dinner. That sounds likely, doesn't it? The old go for dinner after you finish the season.
I hope that happens. I just don't see it. There's going to be a breakaway crew. You know what I mean? Like they're going to be up. They're going to be up north. Just say your last game's in Mackay or Townsville. They still go
straight
off.
to the mad cow. Straight to the mad cow.
They still go off those towns. You know what I mean? So there could be games in Townsville. There's going to be games in Mackay, even Brisbane. Like that's not Sydney. You can do what you want up there, and don't just have a Mad Monday at a pub. Just go out. Not giving you any ideas, but the players.
It's not a recommendation. That's just a statement.
Not a recommendation, but you know what I mean. Like it's just what are you going to do? Season's over unless it's like full on from the CEOs, and which it has to be. You guys aren't going out. You go out. You get fined. That's what's going to have to happen. There can't be any grey area. So this is all down to the football managers, GMs, and CEOs. Comes from those guys, then that's it. You're done.
Well, we're big on research on this show. We love a bit of research. And so I've done a bit of research And I reckon the first side to get knocked out of the comp will be the Broncos. They play the Knights. Can you imagine the Brisbane Broncos in their home state, after they get knocked out of the comp, going out for a nice family dinner? They're going to the Black Stump. They're going to Hogs
Normanby.
Cafe.
Okay, let me get you this.
Nice little feed.
When you say Mad Monday, what if you play Friday night and you're just out on Friday?
It has to
Saturday,
be Monday. It doesn't count.
And Sunday. So you can get it on a technicality. You know what I mean? Hey, we didn't have Mad Monday. We just had a drink Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
And Tuesday. We had a rest Monday.
But seriously, I'm not sure how you can police that. That's what I'm saying. If it's coming from the big dogs, going, if you guys mess up, blah blah blah. Especially the guys, the teams that are coming like the just say the Bulldogs. If that's not a rule for all players from that team to pull your heads in, etc., and someone stuffs up, you're going to be in monumental shit. But if nothing's said, players will do what they want. If they just go, you go have a beer. If they say just at the hotel, then it's just going to be at the hotel. Do you know what I mean? Because can they break that bubble? As soon as that whistle blows, are we out of the NRL bubble? I'm not sure.
You watch
There's
them.
There's a lot of grey.
Take the masks off after the final whistle. The masks go off, and they're straight up in the stand, tongue and shirtless.
I don't think I can explain enough to a GM or a football manager how much they have to explain this to an NRL team if you're not in the finals. You have to sit there and tell them all the repercussions to their actions. Otherwise, if there's grey area, they'll exploit it.
Well, here we go. I think this must be, is it Abdo said this? This is a different year and different season. We want to make sure we maintain our discipline all the way through, and we'll have a discussion about how we do that, how we exit the season, and make sure we have no issues that concern us. That sounds exactly like what happens with rugby league. No issues to concern anyone. It should be sweet. I can't see any dramas with this whatsoever.
Shane, the rules need to be black and white. Just heads up.
So speaking of Brisbane, William, Payne Haas, last week he was signing a 44-year deal with the Broncos, and then all of a sudden he wasn't. It appears as if there is some sort of hoo-ha with the manager. I love managers. They're the best people in the world, and everyone should have one. I actually think everyone in the world should just get a manager because they're just good for you. Doesn't matter what you do. Don't worry about football. Just in life, just get yourself a manager. Life manager. They can take 6% and rip you off. It's good. So Payne Haas has not signed with the Broncos. Turns out he is on not a lot of money.
How much do you reckon?
Well, apparently he's getting 550 this year. Now, for a bloke who is literally the entire forward pack for the Broncos in the last few weeks, and he plays like two blokes.
Last few years.
Who exactly should be getting paid more as a front rower than Payne Haas in the game? And that's a serious question because take the money out of it. Who's a better prop than him?
No one. Him and I reckon James Fisher-Harris and Junior Paulo are the three best in the game at the moment. Junior Paulo's had a few injuries in the last sort of 6 weeks. Para's been a bit down. Fisher-Harris has been out, I think, because he got married. But Payne Haas is just he's that dude. He's a bad boy. Big minutes, very efficient, massive meters, big motor, great leadership, good kid, ticks all the boxes. So pay that kid what he deserves, and that's $1 million plus.
If Lodge is on 875, it's
what's Lodge on 875?
875. So Payne Haas is $1 million player. That's my opinion, but I just think he can play big minutes and he can do the work of two players.
Quality. Yeah.
Would you rather have two $500,000 props or would you rather have Payne Haas? I'd rather have Payne Haas.
I don't understand how Lodge, I'm not hating on anyone on that money, but 875, I'd want a couple of Origin jerseys and some Test jerseys in there.
Yeah.
That's on, and that's not on Lodge. Good on you. Get your cash, son.
Take the money. Take the money.
Yeah, take every single cent if they're going to pay you. But God damn, that's dumb from whoever negotiated from the Brisbane end. It's probably the recruitment.
It's the 100%. Bloke he's the worst person at any job ever in the history of jobs. The Broncos.
I was on the piss one time in Brisbane. I think I'll run into him one day.
Can we find out who he is? Let's have him on the show. Let's say, how can you be? I'll tell you who's the worst at their jobs. Weathermen. because they just come out and go, it's raining, it's not raining. They get it wrong every day.
The chance
And
of rain, but no rain.
Chance of rain,
But
but
seriously,
no rain.
there's rain.
Cloudy. And then the recruitment bloke from the Broncos. No one's
Yeah.
worse. So apparently
but Payne Haas pay that man his money. And he should, and I love how Payne Haas has come out and said, I haven't signed any deal, blah, blah, blah. He's going to get rid of his manager. I think he's going to go to Coda. Coda will get the best deal for him. He'll look after his life and secure the bag, kid. Mil plus, don't settle for anything. And if he's going to go shop himself around, Roosters have just entered the chat.
Yeah, 100%.
They will. You know what I mean? Like, they are hunting for a young prop. I mean, Hargraves has been there for 12 years. He's been one of their best players. You know what I mean? He's at the back end of his career. You know, they've got some money to spend. So if Brisbane don't pay him what he's worth and what he wants, kid could be down here in the tricolours.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I would love to see that, obviously, as a Roosters fan, but I also reckon Takiaho's been enormous the last couple of weeks. Look, I think, of course, the thing with Payne Haas is he's obviously extremely well liked, both in the Brisbane setup, and Tavita Pangai Jr. came out and said, basically, pay him his money, whatever he's worth, and you know, it's being honest. And again, David Fifita is getting horribly underused, but if David Fifita's worth 1.2 million, let me tell you, Payne Haas is worth that as well. So pay him his money. All right, Sharks are actually an option for him, I reckon. But
Payne Haas?
Yeah, they reckon he's good mates with Fitzgibbon.
Through Origin, that
Origin.
only goes some. That'll go a little bit, but like not much, because he wants to win. You know, the Roosters.
Oh, Sharks can't win. Sharks can't win.
They can win, of course they can, but not as much. I mean, I'm not sure how much he loves Queensland, how much he loves Brisbane. You know, I know he's a Beresfield boy, Newcastle boy.
I actually didn't know that. He's from Newcastle, isn't he?
Yeah. Beresfield boy. So, mate. I bet the Roosters will come knocking.
They always come knocking.
Like, why wouldn't they? Like, he's the best young prop in the world at the moment, and he's got at least 8 more years in his prime. You know, like he's not like that. He's like that, and if he plays with better players, mate, he could be anywhere.
All right. Well, just quickly, speaking of the Roosters, Trent Robinson's press conference.
What a beauty!
Where. How are you finding a bloke for telling the truth? Like, what is the game becoming when a coach comes out and he speaks from the heart? And I cannot disagree with the thing that he said. If Latrell Mitchell gets sent off, then that game settles down straight away. Mitchell doesn't come back on, throw the ball. It doesn't turn into the shit fight it did. So if the bunker gets it right, I agree with you. That whole game changes. So why is he getting fined for telling the truth?
Yeah, well, you just can't. You have a look at any other sports, NBA or AFL, NFL. You don't say anything. They can never bag the game or the refs or anything like that. Otherwise, they get massive fines. Well, players and coaches seem to just get away with it a lot in our game, but the NRL just keeps fining them. That's all they get is little fines, and the club pays for it because Robbo said that he was spot on with everything he said, and the game doesn't like it because he's right, and he hammered the bunker, and he's right. He's spot on about the bunker. Like, how do you get that wrong? That's your only job. Watch the game and get decisions right. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just an absolute load of shit. And then you have a look at how reactive the refs are in the NRL. Everyone else is on, like, there's about 300 people on report from there, 10 minutes in the bin, like, just because they didn't do their job in the first place. That's what always happens. They can never get it right, ever, straight away. Therefore, then when they fuck up like this, then they'll go, oh, my God, we better do something about it. But just do it. That's your job. Referee the game right. Make the right decisions in the bunker. That's why you get paid. It's not like it's a joke where it's just like, I'm just turning up like it's local league. You're getting paid to do this shit. This is your only job, and you can't get it right.
I just love how the bunker
I'll be a good head coach.
Fined every week. You'd be fined every week. You'd be fined at training. But the thing that I get is the bunker's $1 billion thing. They've got all this money, and it's done is create more shit. Yeah. Good plan. Just get rid of it.
Good work.
All right, this is a bit that we've already sort of mentioned it, William, but your punting is really coming along this year, considering you're a bloke who got, and I don't want to labour the point, but 0, right? Last year, 0. None. 30-week show, not one. And so
how bad is that?
Won. So we've got the kitty up around the $4,500 mark. We are going to bring in the man who knows, the man from bettingsite.com.au. Harold, welcome, son. How's life treating you? Are you enjoying fatherhood still, or are you over it?
Oh, mate, the last 2 nights we've had a couple of great sleeps. It's magnificent.
Magnificent.
Yeah, plenty of sleep this week. So, look, fresh as a daisy. It's September, finals footy just around the corner. Life doesn't get much better.
No, it doesn't. And you got me last week because the Roosters, I said, with the start, and they got beaten by 400. And so...
God, that game ended in a fast, didn't it? Jeez.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful to watch. But luckily...
I actually did.
We've actually got a few entries through already, which is great. Will and I run through them towards the end of the show and thank all those people that have done it. But at the moment, we've got $4,355 in the kitty. And what makes me sick is that William's actually provided the lion's share of that.
Yeah.
You've done nothing. You've done nothing.
Who, me or Harry?
No, Harry's done nothing.
Hang on. Go back to round 2.
Did you get one up? Yeah, you did.
I put $1,100 in the kitty that weekend.
Hey, stop living in the past.
How much have you got in, Ian?
I've had 2 or 3 up, I think. I don't know.
That's
the
a
producer
lie.
will no doubt tell me. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not a lie. It's not a lie.
Okay, I believe you.
I'll tell you what, your whole life is a lie. So, all right, this week, I'll tell you what, if this doesn't get up, I'll be filthy at myself. I'll be filthy at you, Harry.
That's fair enough.
It'll be your fault.
And the producer?
I don't ever talk about that bloke. You don't mention his name, ever.
Okay.
I'm done with the bloke. So, West Tigers into Titans, into the Sea Eagles 13 plus, full strength, into the Panthers 13 plus, into the Knights, don't let me down, Harry, and Brian To'o, anytime.
Oh, you've had a few. You've had a crack today.
Damn. And it's only paying $6.40 on Sportsbet.
Yeah, they're all favourites.
Damn.
Sounded good.
Look,
It sounded good. I went 6 legs with $6. It's good.
Look,
Yeah,
I think that
favourites.
Panthers leg, yeah, that's a given. How much do you trust the Titans and the West Tigers, though?
None.
0.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah. I mean, the Titans, their season could be over by the time they take the field. They'll know what they need to do by the time so who knows what will happen in that game.
Oh, if they have to win by like 20 or something like that, is that right?
Yeah, to make the 8. Yeah, it's going to come.
I'd love to crush their dreams.
Yeah.
Why are you being
I was
so
playing
hurt,
against them.
honestly? I'll tell you what, I'm sitting here. If you want to see a nervous breakdown, I'm sitting here in my actual pajamas with the Masters of the Universe shirt on. I'm clearly having a breakdown, and he is just pouring scorn on my bet. I just want positivity. I need it. Give me something. What's my bet paying?
$6.40 on Sportsbet.
Oh,
Tell me
nice
it'll
one,
win.
Berno.
Tell me you like it.
I do like it, though.
Thanks,
That's the
mate.
thing. It's just anytime you got the Titans in this kind of situation, you got to be a little iffy.
No, I'm not iffy. So, William,
All right, let's
tell
get
me
to the
about
winning
your
bet.
bet.
I've got the Sharks. I'm going to take the Sharks at the line. The Rabbits and St. George over 53.5. And anytime try scorers, Daniel Tupou and Ruben Garrick. That's it.
Again, I said it last week. I love the bet. I love this bet too. I was just doing some research, and I'll have you know that the Sharks, in their last 6 games as an underdog in the betting, they have covered the line each time. So they're going for lucky number 7. Daniel Tupou, anytime try scorer, he's as good a shot as anyone on any week. Ruben Garrick, 20 tries this year. $11.01 at Ladbrokes. That's a great value bet. And that Rabbitohs Dragons game, the Dragons are stinky defensively. So
Yeah, geez, they've gone bad, haven't they?
real bad.
That's sickening because it's such a good bet. Actually, do you know what? Let's do it for the kids. Let's out there. Let's win it for the kids.
So you're
And
forgetting,
kids.
it's not me winning me money. It's for the kids, Ian. So
No,
stop
I
it.
know. And also, the best part of it is that now at the end of
Shout
this
out to
season,
Bobby Masilla.
when he wins more money than I do for the kitty, I will hear about this until 2022. So that's excellent. I hope everyone enjoys the kit that they get.
I had nothing in last year. Nothing.
Zero. That's all right. Last year's gone now. The producer, he has gone for Geelong 1-39, Tom Hawkins to kick 3 goals, the Western Bulldogs, and Johnny English to kick 2 goals.
It's a good movie.
Now, I'll tell you what, plenty of value in this. $27.24 at Ladbrokes. Okay, so Geelong, they're playing the GWS Giants from Sydney. Tom Hawkins, the big key forward, huge chance to kick a bag in any game he plays from my limited AFL knowledge. Western Bulldogs got over the producers Essendon Bombers last week. And Tim English, 2 goals, $27.24.
Oh, come on. I wish you could get one.
Tim's middle name's John. That's why I called him Johnny. So
Love
it's
it.
Timothy John English. That's his full name.
Just
so
unbelievable.
thank you.
I kind of hope the producer gets up on this because
I hope he does too.
That's incredible. That could be $1,300 straight into the kitty.
Betting site should up it to like $100, I reckon.
Yeah.
I actually hope the producer does something. Just one thing. Just one positive thing for this show. I'm yet to see it. So, Harry, what have you? Oh, hang on a second. This bet here looks like it's got less legs than me and it pays more than mine.
Yeah, I don't know how this has happened.
What is it?
Well, okay, here we go. So Ladbrokes are giving me a neat $7 straight up. Doesn't matter if they win by 1 or 100. The Roosters, the Knights, the Rabbitohs, and the West Tigers for the win.
Oh, nice.
Didn't you just, and a moment of minutes ago, tell me that I shouldn't trust the West Tigers? Because I believe you. If I'm going to go back to the video.
Oh, you can rewind, but
I'll
do you
rewind
trust the Bulldogs too? They are just that bad.
I don't trust anything. I've lost all confidence.
Back the Bulldogs, but I just think they got one in them. I reckon they got one in them. I don't know what it is. I'll ruin both your net.
That would be great if they to go a 24-game season and lose more than 20 games is just about impossible. But
they're doing it, haven't they?
Yeah, they've only won 2 games all year.
It makes me sick physically.
Makes the fans sick too. Well, Harold, thank you once again. I think that where are we now? There's 1 game and then 3 finals games. I think we're aiming to get over $6,000 for the kid.
Yeah, we'll be
That's
right.
where I reckon
we'll get a couple this week.
So I reckon we're going to get up over $6,000. So for all those clubs, please get your entries in because $6,000 still, even though we're making jokes about it, bettingsite.com's been extremely generous to put the money in. And this money, we know what last year did, and we managed to split it into 2 clubs. And we'd love to be able to give it to some deserving people out there. I know things are pretty tough at the moment. So, Harry, thanks again, mate. We really appreciate your support. Thanks to bettingsite.com.au, and we will speak to you next week.
All right, guys, we'll catch you later and enjoy the last round of footy, despite the schmozzle it could shape up to be.
It's a schmozzle. You've said it well. See you, mate.
See you.
See ya.
You can say it this week. Do you know why? Because you won. Go on.
Oh, yeah. Gamble responsibly, everybody.
Yeah, everyone.
Like I do. Like I do every week.
All right. So, William, now let's go into the teams that have gone for the year. We've been sort of running through them. The Warriors.
When are we going to go
Dragons.
to my big boys? What about my big boys?
Do you want to go to the big boys now?
Well, what are we doing? Is that after?
Well, I thought we'd go. Yeah, I thought we'd do the big boys at the end, but no.
Okay, no, do it at the end. I didn't know you had a plan. I thought you forgot.
No, I didn't have a plan.
You actually write stuff. You actually write stuff there, and I got nothing in front of me.
Do you know what? I was at a point where I was like, where do I go now? Because the producer made me go to Harry first, and then I thought we'll go straight to the sides that have gone for the year. And what I hope is that Zig's not madly trying to put the background up on Facebook. But anyway, that's Zig's problem, not mine. I'm the talent. I can do what I want. The Warriors. Let's start with the Warriors. They, again, they've had such a tough year. I mean, they really have. It's just the expectation that they've had to go over there and stay away from their families. And next year, hopefully, the Warriors will get a huge amount of home games. That's what I hope.
And losing like Tuivasa-Sheck and Ken Mamalo, like, you know, throughout the year, like especially RTS, like losing him, having Fanua Blake out. I think Fanua Blake he's in that top 4 forwards, front rowers in the world when he's fully fit. So they've been inconsistent as usual, but I mean, their whole life outside of football is probably inconsistent at this time. You know, so you can have every excuse in the world. They're a good team, man. They're hard to beat all the time. You know, all I can see is an upside for them next year. I'm not sure where they're going to be based. Have they not committed to being on the coast, like Redcliffe or something like that? I heard.
No, I don't know. I think it depends.
Can someone clarify that? Can Henry or the producer?
I think it'll be dependent on what happens. They've actually come out today and said that they're going to probably open up international travel. So, but the thing is, if there's quarantine, you can't have the Warriors going back and forth in quarantine because they can't play hotel rooms. So they're not going to be sitting at the Mercure Grand on the Gold Coast for 2 weeks and playing in the backyard of the hotel. But all right, so the Dragons. I'll tell you, the Dragons. If you have to sum up the Dragons season, it's blokes hiding under the bed at Paul Vaughan's house. That is just genuinely, they were going okay. They were in the 8, and now all of a sudden, they have a party at Vaughan's house. Gonzas, whole year, finished.
Yeah, they just wiped it, didn't it? I think the writing was on the wall. I mean, they did have a good win before that, didn't they? But they had a couple of remember when they beat Parramatta?
You said that
Parramatta. I thought a full strength St. George would give anybody a run for their money. Then they went on a bit of a losing streak, and then they come out and they think they pumped a good team, and then they went and had a party, and then they just fell to bits. And then they had some injuries: Ben Hunt, McCulloch, a few guys like that, Tarek Sims, all their key players out, and then they've just been diabolical ever since. I don't really. Who will they sign next year? You got Big George Burgess, Francis Molo, Jaden Sewer. That'll steal your front row. That'll steal your forward pack up, and Moses Envine. Yeah, I think they've bought well. I don't really think I don't think they're going to, threat as much as they could have this year. I don't think they have that side. And, McCulloch and Hunt, another year older. I'm not sure who's going to be their 5'8". Did they get rid of...
They got rid of Corey Norman. I think one of these young kids who's been playing, I think has been, and that's probably the benefit that they've got is that they've got young players coming through like Jaden Sullivan and Tyrell Sloan.
Junior Monet, all those kids that come from the SG Ball. The SG Ball kids, about 4 or 5 of them, they've won a hell of a lot together, and they're going to come through the system pretty much like the Penrith boys come through the system with Toto and Luai, Cleary, all those lads. So St. George is hoping for something like that, but I don't see much happening. I don't see much happening now. I just think they're key players. They're at the back end of their career. They had their chance in the last 5 years if they were going to have a decent crack at it. Now they've sort of got to rebuild big time, and then they're just going to go straight. They'll be bottom. They'll be fighting for an 8 position. They'll be at the 12, 13, pretty much like they are now.
Yeah. Well, the producer has obviously felt bad about being hopeless, and he's just sent me a message saying that the Warriors will be based in Redcliffe if they can't be in New Zealand next year. So he's actually done something. I did listen. What about if Redcliffe have got the new expansion side? They'll kick the Warriors out. Bye-bye. All right. So
they got the Ipswich They're Rednecks. That's already done. We decided last week.
The Rednecks. That'd be a good side. Actual redneck. So let's. I'm going to pick
just a redneck
out of the games for this weekend. There's a couple of games I don't care about. I'm going to ask you about the games that have some significance.
We thought this last week. There's been some high class rugby league that's been played in the last couple of weeks. Like the Knights team, the Knights and who they play
last week.
Yeah, Titans. Great game. That's the first time I tweeted. I tweeted first time I've been out of my chair, just punched in the air since Melbourne and Penrith. Remember when they scored in the corner?
Yeah.
That was the only two. That's the only two exciting games all year. That's pretty sad.
Why is Fafita sitting on the bench? Honestly,
I don't understand it.
I don't get it.
My head. That is like they've got too many smart guys up there. The head coach, Jim Dimmick up there. I'm not sure what they want from this kid sitting on there for 32 minutes.
Comes on, scores a try straight away.
You don't do that to a kid, mate. How to mess with a kid's confidence? He comes there as your biggest signing in the club history. He kills it at the start of the year. You come up with some idea, play him off the bench. You win 3 games, and then you put him, and then it's just like a subtle little your subconscious plays on it, which will piss him off. Wearing a bench number. Do you know what I mean? Like you're a marquee signing and their best forward, and you've got number fucking 15 on. Everyone's got pride, and it's not a good way to try and look after your best young kid. You know, like you don't know how he's going to react to that. You just don't do this. You don't push these little buttons and try and play mind games with one of your freakish kids like that. You just put him on the field and let him play football because it looks like he's not having fun. He looks stressed. He's like, when I looked at him like the last couple of years when he's just been playing free football, getting the ball, just doing whatever he wants, playing on the right side, playing on the left, playing in the middle, and just enjoying football. When he first hit the scene, now he's just a big signing and everything like. And you do that to a big signing, it's not good for his ego. It's not. And it plays on him subconsciously. You probably start resenting the coach. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing this shit for? It's not like he was playing bad.
No, of course. He scored a lot of tries.
He needs to work on a few things, but it happens in time. It's only his second year in first grade. It's his first full year or second full year in first grade. You got to give him time. You got to coach the kid. You got to teach him how to defend properly. Like when you sit him on an edge, you got to teach him how to defend properly. Get a guy like Bo Scott up there. He was one of the best right forward defenders in the game and all left forward. Some of these old school dudes like that. Like if you want to play him on an edge, he has to learn how to defend on the edge. It's just not coached right. He's not. And it's sad to say because there's some good coaches up there.
And I think it would be weighing on him thinking, well, I'm their marquee player and I'm on the bench.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing for me? Like, what do you want from me? Like, you're taking my minutes off me, and now you're demoting my number. Like, is it personal? You start playing with your own head. Trust me. You know what I mean? You start pissing, little things start pissing you off. Like what, like you're playing me off the bench. Is this a demotion? No. It's better. It's good for it's good for the team. Be front up with him. Otherwise, these kids they think different.
Is this Brian Smith? Are you going back to? Is there some Brian Smith moments here?
That's why Brian Smith doesn't coach anymore. Too many fucking mind games.
All right. So the first game of the round is actually a good one, which is the Raiders versus the Roosters. Roosters have got some cavalry back. Raiders probably need to win to get some momentum going into the semis. It's a good game of footy. No, they're not going to the semis. They have to win to be able to be a chance, but they won't. But they're gone. I think.
Why?
I think the Sharks
and the Sharks lose.
If they win and the Sharks lose, so they have to.
Possible.
Win.
How is that not possible?
No, it's possible.
Storm will wipe the Sharks.
But I think it's on for and against, and I think the for and against is too much. I've done no research on that.
No, it's huge. Like Canberra, but Sharks just need to lose, and Canberra win. That's it. Simple. So Canberra's in control.
So if Canberra win,
and the Sharks lose,
then okay, all right.
Then Canberra's 8. I wouldn't want to play Canberra in the first round of the semis.
No.
If I'm Parramatta,
they're all sitting on the bench, Parramatta. So look, I think that's a good game of footy. I think the Raiders have been disappointing this year, but they've found some form late. I think the problem with the Raiders is that they've had so much external stuff. They've had the George Williams stuff. They've had, now
Bateman leaving.
But there's been a lot of non-football related things, and I don't know how much control over that the coach has, but I don't know. I feel like this Raiders premiership window, they call it, it's shut now. And now it's just a question of probably getting through the next year or two with the contracted players they've got, and then rebuilding. But this will be a good game.
You can't win games with those halves. You know what I mean? You just can't. The timing's off. You know, Hodgson hasn't been playing his best football, but the halves are, you know, they're reserve grade halves. They're just doing a job because George Williams had to go this year. And Jack, I mean, where's Jack White and Bling playing?
He's playing at 5'8".
Oh, so he's 5'8". I thought they had that other kid.
They've had young Sammy Williams, and then they've had Matt Frawley's come in.
Frawley,
look, Sam Williams
that's what I'm saying. So Frawley's at halfback now. Yeah, so they had Frawley and Williams in the halves, and they sometimes push Jack in the centres, and you just can't win games like that. Now, they've still got a good team. Jordan Rapana was outstanding last week.
Oh,
what a beast. Charles Nicol-Clogstad, he was unbelievable, that kid. Like, they've missed him. He's their energy.
He
100%. Been unbelievable since he's been back.
I think,
mate, they should win. No, I'm not very confident, actually.
No, mate.
But I just look at the Rooster side. They just got so many, you know, just rookies everywhere. But they're still a decent team. I backed the Raiders too. Fuck.
Well, you've left them out actually, and then I backed them for you.
Oh, you did, didn't you? And I just thumbs up it.
You just
thumbs up it. I hope that gets you back.
Well, back. I'm that far in front. It's a joke. So all right. I think
you are.
I'm actually trying to look through this game. I said there's a few good games. The Storm and the Sharks. The Storm will probably they'll win that game. The Panthers are playing against the reserve grade Eels side.
That would have been a good game.
Would have been a good game if it was actual a game.
Yeah. I reckon you're lying about the good games. Where'd you see them?
I didn't see any. I've just changed my mind completely. I think the only game that's close, the Broncos Knights, who cares? Because it doesn't mean anything. They're both in and out. The Cowboys Sea Eagles, Manly will flog them. You've got the Rabbitohs Dragons. Rabbitohs have got a Reggie side. I've actually tipped the Dragons there, which was a mistake. But the Titans and Warriors, that's
Tigers
a shit
and
game.
Dogs.
It's a
this
shit
is one of the
round.
worst rounds.
100%. I don't know why I said there were more than
round
one. I
one.
don't know. It's like when you put in your tips for last week and it was from about 4 weeks before.
That's what you did.
Just pressed copy paste. No. Do you know what? We're not even going to talk about this anymore. When we go into the finals, we'll actually we're going to have some special guests through the final series, and you've got one of the smartest football brains. You're a shit human being, but you've got one of the smartest football brains of all, and you're going to actually break down the game for us. But for this week, I don't want to hear you break down the West Tigers against the Bulldogs. So we're going to move straight on from that. And do you know what we're going to? Do you know what we're going to?
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to?
Willie's Big Boys.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Willie's Big Boy.
Anyway, it was a great display of big boys on the weekend, especially in the Parramatta and Melbourne team. That was outstanding. Did you watch that whole game?
No.
You didn't? Mate, It was brutal. Mate, Parramatta out Melbourne. Seriously, they were
actually, no, I did watch the whole thing. I
Yeah,
I was drinking heavily throughout it, but I do remember now that I watched it because we were messaging the whole game. That was
they were outstanding. And I thought, so 3-2-1, I'll go from 1 point, is Big Papali. I thought he played outstanding against the Warriors. Him and Fanua Blake were both outstanding, but I think Papali got the nod because they won. And that's about it. Well over 100 metres, about 170 metres, about 20 touches, about 16, 17 hit-ups, 30 tackles, 90% effective tackling. You know, he doesn't really miss. He hits hard. He was breaking the line. He was really finding the seam in the defence and just finding his hands and his hands and knees quite easily against the. And it's never ever easy playing against the Warriors. I always say that, regardless, because they got some big boys in the middle there. 2 points, Isaiah Papali'i. What an absolute beast that kid is. Best buy of the year so far. 73 minutes played in the middle against Melbourne. That game was tiring. You know what I mean? Like, it was back and forth. They worked so hard on their line. He only just got pipped by Junior Paulo, because Junior Paulo, I think, he played about 64, 65 minutes. But it's just some of the runs that he had in crucial times, and a lot of the meters that Isaiah Papali'i had a few more kickoffs. So I think the meterage would have been around about the same. But big junior Paulo made a lot of his meters, one off the ruck against that Melbourne pack, who are very clinical. So they were outstanding, and that was throughout the whole round. The big boys are just flying, and you need the best big boys in the comp to win you the comp. So that's my big boys for the week.
All right. So what we have got is we have got the leaderboard.
Give us the
We've got
leaderboard.
Payne. So Payne Haas. I don't know. We didn't actually check this. Is this going through to the finals or not? But if it's not going through to the finals,
it is.
Oh, here we go. Well, Payne Haas, he's won the minor premiership. Payne Haas, he's got 21 votes. So he is obviously the Broncos won't be playing finals football this year because the recruitment guys destroyed the entire club. So
yeah.
Thanks again to the recruitment guy for the Brisbane Broncos. But James Fisher-Harris is he's coming up Payne Haas's rear at 17 votes. And then Junior Paulo, making a late run, is on 16 votes. So just a reminder that the winner of the Big Boys, Willie's Big Boys, will receive, thanks to Young Henry's, and also big thanks to Oscar, who delivered a care package of a couple of cases and some gin to me and Will this week.
Yes, thank
Oscar,
you.
We love your work, mate. And anyone who thinks that they are drinking enough alcohol, get yourself a Young Henry's, because it is really quite a magnificent drop. And Bondi Tony's is going to provide the winner with, don't leave your local government area. Willie and I will eat your food for you. But if you win it, thanks to Bondi Tony's,
yes,
it'll be us. So thanks again to all of our supporters in Young Henry's and Bondi Tony's. Quickly as well, I think that one of our rate and review kind of people said we should be handing out Young Henry's to people on the via our Twitter and things like that. We've actually got a heap of gifts that we're going to be starting to give out during the final series. So stay tuned, and we will be. You keeping them?
Yeah,
we're keeping the Young Henrys. We're definitely keeping that. All right, tips. William, read your tips out.
I think my headphones just went flat. I didn't charge them.
Did they? Well, I'm going to. This is a problem we've been having. So, William's gone. The Raiders, the Storm, the Panthers, the Knights, the Eagles, the Dragons, the Titans, and the Tigers. This is one of your best. Thanks again to Yamaha, because Yamaha has provided us with some magnificent earphones.
But remind yourselves to charge them. All right.
And mine are still, plugging away nicely.
Can you hear me? So, you can hear me, can't you?
I can hear you. I wish I couldn't, but I can.
Oh, sweet. So, I can hear you. It's fine.
Can you?
Yeah.
That's because your Yamaha headphones work so well. And thanks again to Yamaha that they can just sit on the desk next to your big, ugly head and they can pick up
Storm,
the sound.
Panthers, Knights, Eagles, Rabbits, Warriors, Bulldogs, and Canberra. That's it. Done.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, if you get 22 right this week and I get none, you'll go in front.
It's possible. So, I'll probably win the bet as well. I'll get my multi up. That's way better than winning this.
It's, it actually is way better.
Yeah, it feels better.
Yeah. And it just makes me sick that you're beating me. All right. So this week, that concludes the show. This week, we will be doing Twitter. We literally just do Twitter whenever we feel like it. It's just
jump on.
And do you know what? If you're on Twitter, just for record, Will's got his own Twitter thing. I tweet out of the Take with Willie Mason. So if you want to have a crack at the Willie Mason thing, it's me, not Will. So if you want to have a crack at Will, go to his site. But we will be tweeting between the two of it. And we'll do all the games. We love tweeting. It's my favourite thing. Make sure you rate, review, and subscribe.
You're a drunk tweeter, you know that. People should know that Ian Byrne is a drunk tweeter.
I'm a drunk most things at the moment.
I don't drink and tweet. Again.
No, please.
I don't. I haven't had a drink for 6 weeks. I don't count 2 beers.
That doesn't count. 6 beers doesn't count.
10 doesn't.
So thank you again. 20 doesn't. Why not 30? So thanks again. Bettingsite.com.au. Thanks to Young Henry's. Thanks to Bondi Tony's. Thanks to Will's Yamaha headphones that still work when they're sitting on the desk. They're that good. And we will see you next week.
They'll be following Willie more and more. Back in the NRL. There's Willie Mason.
I've forgotten how big Willie actually is.
Perhaps the presence of Willie had the Panthers looking at his imposing frame.
I'm a 25-minute man. Oh, you got skill, son.
Uppercut right hand by Big Willie.
Too fancy for you.
You've been listening to The Take with Willie Mason and co-host Ian Byrne. Produced by Craig Trewick, recorded and engineered by Zig Parker of Green Room Sydney, and presented by the Handshake Media Network.